Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're unpacking a topic that might literally make you rethink what's sitting inside your gym bag right now. We're looking closely at sports drinks. You know the ones, those brightly colored neon beverages lined up in the fridge at almost every convenience store and gym. We often grab them as a reward after a tough workout thinking, hey, I'm doing my body a favor, right? But, as we're about to see, there's a hidden impact that these drinks have on a very specific and absolutely crucial part of your body, your smile. We're going to break down the hard data on what is actually inside these bottles and what happens to your teeth when you consume them a bit too often.
Okay, let's dive right into this because we really have to ask ourselves a fundamental question here. Do you actually need that brightly colored sports drink after your workout? It's just so ingrained in fitness culture that a hard sweat demands a specially formulated beverage to recover. We see the slick marketing, we see the vibrant colors, and we naturally assume it's a biological necessity to replenish ourselves with these specific products. But we need to separate the marketing hype from the actual physiological reality of what our bodies require when we finish exercising.
To answer that, we have to look at who these drinks are truly built for and who genuinely needs them. So, for professional athletes, people pushing their bodies to the absolute physiological limit for hours on end, rapid rehydration with specific elements like water, sodium, and potassium makes total sense. But for the vast majority of us, the non-professional sports folks, the data is crystal clear. The weekend warrior, the daily jogger, the recreational tennis player, your body simply does not need sports drinks after exercising for recovery. You just don't need them.
Let's move to Section 1, Inside the Bottle, the 600 milliliter teardown.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the sheer volume we're talking about. On average, a standard 600 milliliter sports drink contains 8.5 teaspoons of added sugar. Let that sink in. That's 34 grams of sugar hidden in a liquid marketed as a fitness product. I want you to mentally visualize taking a teaspoon, dipping it into a sugar ball, and dumping it out onto a table, 8.5 times. That massive pile of sugar is exactly what you are washing over your teeth every single time you down one of these average-sized bottles. It's a staggering metric when you stop and actually think about it.
But the sugar is only the first half of the story. The second shocking metric is a pH level ranging from 2.7 to 3.14. Now, if you remember your high school chemistry, the pH scale measures how acidic or basic a liquid is, with the lower numbers being super acidic. A pH between 2.7 and 3.14, that is highly acidic. We're talking about an acidity level comparable to dietary vinegar or grapefruit juice. This acidity comes from food acids that are purposefully added to these drinks right alongside the sugar. So you aren't just coating your teeth in a massive dose of sugar, you're simultaneously bathing them in an environment similar to vinegar. Talk about a brutal 1-2 punch to your teeth right after a run.
Which brings us to Section 2, the double dental threat.
The first specific threat is directly tied to those 8.5 teaspoons of added sugar we just talked about. The primary impact of that massive dose? Tooth decay. Drinking too many sugary drinks over time is basically a fast track to cavities. The sugar feeds the bacteria in your mouth, which in turn produce harmful byproducts that literally eat away at the tooth. It's a slow, steady progression of damage that happens incrementally every single time you choose a sugary sports beverage over a safer alternative.
And this brilliantly illustrates the second part of the thread. While the sugar causes decay by feeding bacteria, the food acids take a much more direct, aggressive route, tooth erosion. As we saw with that crazy low pH score of 2.7 to 3.14, these food acids make the drink highly acidic. When you introduce this level of acid into your mouth, it drops your mouth's overall pH. This directly, chemically, leads to the erosion of the hard protective enamel on your teeth. It's a literal wearing away of your tooth structure caused entirely by the acidic nature of the beverage itself. Yikes.
Now at this point, I know what some of you are thinking. Okay, I'll just outsmart the system. I'll buy the sugar-free sports drinks. It totally seems like the logical workaround, right? You eliminate the 34 grams of sugar, boom, you eliminate the threat. But hold on, beware of the sugar-free trap. Yes, sugar-free sports drinks are everywhere, and they do successfully remove the sugar component. However, they still contain those tooth-eroding food acids. So while you might be bypassing the threat of sugar-induced tooth decay, the acidic threat of direct tooth erosion remains fully intact. You're still exposing your teeth to that dangerously low pH level.
All right, Section 3, Protecting Your Smile.
Before we get into mitigation strategies, we really have to state the undeniable, simple fact presented by the data here. The ultimate solution is incredibly straightforward. Choose water. Water is, hands down, the absolute best drink to stay hydrated when exercising.
It's exactly what your body actually needs to replenish fluids, it adds zero added sugar, and it doesn't contain the food acids that wreck your enamel. For the non-professional sports person, simply swapping that brightly colored bottle for good old plain water completely eliminates the dental threats we've been discussing.
But hey, we also live in the real world. Sometimes you're just going to find yourself reaching for a sports drink. So the crucial point is how you handle it when you do. If you choose to drink one, you've got to employ some practical harm reduction tactics. Let's walk through these logically. First up, do not swish the drink around or hold it in your mouth before swallowing. The longer that acidic, sugary liquid just sits against your teeth, the more damage it does. Swallow it quickly. Second, absolutely do not open the drink cap with your teeth. I know it seems obvious, but when your teeth are already under chemical attack from the acids, applying extreme mechanical force to a hard plastic cap is a recipe for disaster. And third, drink water afterwards to wash it all out. This actively helps clear the sugar and acid away from your teeth and gets your mouth's pH back to normal.
We've definitely covered a lot of ground in this explainer today, moving from the physiological reality of hydration to the exact chemical threats hiding in that standard 600 milliliter bottle. As we wrap up, we really have to look at the risk-reward ratio here. When you weigh the temporary and often totally unnecessary reward of a sugary, acidic beverage against the long-term reality of tooth decay and enamel erosion, well, the balance shifts pretty dramatically, doesn't it?
I highly encourage you to not just take my word for all of this, but to continue this learning journey for yourself. You can scan the QR code or simply visit teeth.org.au/sportsdrinks to empower yourself with more facts. But before you go, I want you to ask yourself, the next time you finish a grueling workout, is a fleeting sip of neon sugar truly worth permanently dissolving your smile?